The gun pressed against Amora's temple was cold. Her 3-year-old daughter slept in the next room, completely unaware that 2 loaded weapons were aimed at her mother's head. Is she mine? Minute Jun's voice was deadly calm, but his hand trembled on the trigger. Don't answer him, Minute Ho warned from the doorway, his own gun pointed at his identical twin brother's skull. Tell him the truth, Amora. Tell him she's my daughter. She's not yours. Minute Jun's composure shattered. You're a liar. You've always been a liar, stealing everything that belongs to me. Yours. Minute Ho laughed, dark and bitter. You threw her away like garbage. I'm the one who saved her. I'm the one who... Stop. Amora's scream cut through the tension. Tears streamed down her face as she stared at the 2 most dangerous men in Seoul, the ruthless mafia twins who destroyed her life. You want to know who fathered my baby? You want the truth? She took a shaky breath. Neither of you are ready for it. The twins froze, their weapons still drawn, as Amora's words hung in the air like a bomb about to detonate. Hey fam, welcome back to Afro Soul Diaries. Before we dive deeper into this mess, if you're enjoying this story, hit that subscribe button now because this tale gets darker, sexier, and way more twisted than you can imagine. Now let's get right into it. 4 years ago, Amora Okonkwo had arrived in Seoul with nothing but a fake smile and crushing debt. Her mother's cancer treatments had drained every favor, every shred of dignity. The nursing degree she'd earned in Lagos meant nothing here, so she'd taken the only job available, live-in maid for the Kang family, notorious figures in Seoul's underground world. The twins were impossible to tell apart at first. Same sharp jawline, same piercing dark eyes, same way of moving through rooms like apex predators. But Amora learned the differences quickly. Minute Jun wore silver and spoke in measured tones that made grown men weep. Minute Ho wore gold and his temper could explode like a grenade, leaving bodies in its wake. Eyes down, girl, the head housekeeper, Mrs. Song, had warned her on day 1. The Kang twins don't see staff as human. You're furniture. Act like it and you might survive. Amora had survived by being invisible for 8 months. Until the night Minute Jun stumbled into the kitchen at 2 in the morning, bleeding profusely from a knife wound across his ribs. Help me, he'd gasped, and something in his voice, vulnerability, fear, humanity, had cracked through his usual ice. Her nursing training had overridden common sense. She'd cleaned the wound with steady hands while he watched her with newfound fascination. What's your name? He'd asked as she stitched him up. You've employed me for 8 months, Mr. Kang. I'm asking now. His hand had caught her wrist, gentle but firm. Your name? Amora. Amora, he'd repeated, like he was tasting something rare and precious. His thumb had traced circles on her inner wrist, finding her racing pulse. You're not afraid of me. I'm terrified of you, she'd corrected, meeting his eyes. But you're bleeding, and I can help. Fear doesn't change that. Something had shifted between them in that moment. Something dangerous and inevitable. He'd kissed her 3 nights later in the garden, pressing her against the stone wall while rain poured down around them. It was desperate and hungry and completely insane, but Amora had kissed him back like he was oxygen and she was drowning. This is wrong, she'd whispered against his mouth. I know, he'd breathed, already pulling her closer. I don't care. Their affair had burned hot and secret for 2 months. Stolen moments in empty rooms, his hands learning every inch of her body, whispered promises that felt real in the darkness. Minute Jun had been different with her, softer, more human, almost loving. Come away with me, he'd murmured one night after they'd made love in his private study. I'll set you up in an apartment. You won't have to work. I'll take care of everything. As what? Your kept woman? Amora had pulled away, reality crashing back. What happens when you get bored, Minute Jun? When the new toy isn't shiny anymore? His jaw had tightened. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Because you haven't exactly introduced me to your family as your girlfriend. My world doesn't work that way. You know that. What I know is that I'm good enough to fuck in secret but not good enough to acknowledge in daylight, she'd snapped, gathering her clothes. That fight had gone unresolved because the next morning, Amora had discovered something that changed everything. Minute Jun had a fiancée. Elena Volkov, daughter of a Russian syndicate leader, beautiful and sophisticated and everything Amora could never be. The engagement announcement had been in every news outlet, the wedding scheduled for 6 months away. When Amora had confronted him, Minute Jun's expression had shuttered closed. It's business, Amora. A necessary alliance. Does she know about me? His silence had been answer enough. We're done, Amora had whispered, her heart shattering into a million pieces. But Minute Jun hadn't let her go easily. He'd cornered her in hallways, sent gifts, showed up at her bedroom door with apologies that almost sounded genuine. And in her pain and confusion, Amora had made a catastrophic mistake. She'd let Minute Ho comfort her. The other twin had found her crying in the garden one night, 3 months into her secret affair with his brother. Minute Ho had sat beside her in silence for a long time before offering her his whiskey flask. He's an idiot, Minute Ho had said finally. My brother. He thinks he can control everything, including hearts. He can't. You know? Amora had asked, mortified. I know everything that happens in this house. Minnie Tacho's voice had been strange, tight with some emotion she couldn't name. I know he's been sneaking into your room. I know he's engaged to Elena. I know you're breaking apart. Why didn't you say anything? Because it wasn't my place. Because watching you choose him over me was its own special torture. The confession had hung between them like a live wire. I've wanted you since the day you arrived, Amora. Since you smiled at me in the hallway and called me Mr. Kang like I was someone respectable instead of the monster everyone knows I am. Amora had stared at him, shocked. Minute Ho. I'm not asking for anything, he'd cut her off. I just needed you to know. Someone should tell you that you're extraordinary. That you deserve better than being my brother's secret. They'd talked for hours that night. Amora had drunk too much, her emotions raw and bleeding. The memories got hazy after the third drink. Minnie Tacho's arm around her shoulders, his voice low and soothing, the world spinning as he'd helped her stand. She'd woken up the next morning in her own bed, fully clothed, with Minute Ho asleep in the chair beside her like a guardian angel. He'd left without a word when she'd stirred, and they'd never spoken of that night again. Until 3 weeks later when Amora had missed her period. The pregnancy test had come back positive, and Amora's entire world had imploded. She told Mrs. Song first, who'd paled dramatically. You need to leave, the older woman had urged. Tonight. These men will destroy you and that baby. I have to tell Minute Jun. He deserves to know. But before she could, Amora had overheard a conversation that turned her blood to ice. Elena and Minute Jun in his study, arguing about her. After the wedding, the African girl goes, Elena had said coldly. I don't care how. Send her back to Nigeria, pay her off, throw her in the Han River. But she disappears. Amora had waited for Minute Jun to defend her, to prove that everything between them had meant something. Instead, he'd replied, give me time to handle it quietly. I don't need complications. The betrayal had felt like a physical blow. She'd stumbled away, trying not to vomit, only to run straight into Minute Ho. He'd taken one look at her face and pulled her into an empty room. What happened? Through tears, she told him everything, the pregnancy, the conversation, her terror. Minnie Tacho's expression had gone absolutely murderous. Pack your things. Now. I'm getting you out. Why would you help me? Because someone should. Because you deserve to survive this. Because he'd stopped, jaw clenched. Because I can't watch him destroy you. The baby. Is it his? Minute Ho had asked quietly. I think so. That night with you, nothing happened, right? Something painful had flickered across his face. No. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But you were drunk and crying over him, and I'm many things, Amora, but I'm not that kind of monster. He'd pressed an envelope into her hands. Money. New identity papers. A contact who can help you disappear. Minute Ho, I can't. You can. You will. He'd cupped her face with surprising gentleness. If you ever need me, call. No questions. No conditions. I'll come. If you're wondering what happens next, drop a like on this video because this story is about to get absolutely crazy. That night, Minute Ho had driven her across Seoul himself, setting her up in a small apartment under a different name. He'd kissed her forehead like a benediction and disappeared into the night, leaving Amora alone with her secrets and her growing belly. For 3 years, she'd built a new life. She'd worked at a hospital under her new identity, raised Ji-yoon in peaceful anonymity, and tried desperately to forget the Kang twins. Her daughter had her dark skin and curls, but those eyes, sharp and intelligent and undeniably Kang, were an everyday reminder of everything she'd lost. Then 3 months ago, her carefully constructed peace had shattered. She'd been picking up Ji-yoon from daycare when she'd seen him. Minute Jun, older and harder, standing beside a black Mercedes like a beautiful nightmare. Hello, Amora. She'd grabbed Ji-yoon and run, but his men had surrounded them within seconds. Minute Jun had approached slowly, his eyes fixed on the little girl clutching Amora's hand. 3 years, he'd said softly, dangerously. 3 years I've been searching. Did you really think you could hide from me forever? Leave us alone, Amora had demanded, positioning herself between him and Ji-yoon. But Minute Jun's gaze had dropped to the child, and she'd watched him calculate the age, the timing, the resemblance. His face had gone absolutely white. She's mine, he'd breathed. Dear God, Amora. She's mine, isn't she? No. Don't lie to me. His composure had cracked, revealing something raw and desperate underneath. I can see it. Those eyes. That's my daughter. A second car had pulled up, and Minute Ho had emerged, very much alive despite the rumors Amora had heard about an assassination attempt. He'd looked at Ji-yoon, then at Amora, and his expression had shuttered. Brother, Minute Ho had said coldly. Step away from my family. Your family? Minute Jun had snarled. Did Amora never mention? Minute Ho had smiled, deadly calm. That night she was so devastated over you. We did more than talk. And I've been supporting her and my daughter for 3 years. Amora's blood had run cold. It was a complete lie. Minute Ho hadn't given her money since that first night, and they certainly hadn't slept together. But why was he claiming Ji-yoon as his? The brothers had nearly killed each other in the daycare parking lot before Amora had screamed them into submission. She'd taken Ji-yoon and fled again, but this time, running proved impossible. The twins had found her within hours, and an uneasy truce had formed. Both claimed to be Ji-yoon's father. Both demanded paternity tests. Both wanted custody rights. The situation had spiraled into legal threats, family drama, and increasingly desperate negotiations. Which brought everything full circle to tonight. To 2 brothers with guns drawn in her living room, their lifetime of rivalry finally reaching its breaking point. Tell him, Minute Ho repeated, his weapon still trained on Minute Jun. Tell him the truth about that night, Amora. There is no truth. Amora shouted, her composure finally breaking. Nothing happened between us, Minute Ho, and you know it. So why are you lying? Minute Cho's hand trembled. Because if I don't claim her, what happens? He gets everything again. The good brother, the legitimate heir, the perfect life. While I'm just the violent one, the killer, the one not fit to raise a child. You're using my daughter to hurt your brother, Amora said, disgust filling her voice. You're no better than him. I love you. Minitacho's control shattered. I have loved you for 4 years. I helped you escape. I've stayed away when every instinct screamed to find you. I've respected your choice even though it killed me. And yes, maybe I'm using this situation, but at least I never made you feel like trash. You think you're noble? Minitjun's laugh was bitter. You want to know why I didn't defend Amora to Elena? Because I was buying time. I broke off that engagement the same night. The Russian alliance collapsed. I've been hunted by the Volkov family for 3 years because I chose her. Amora stared at him. You're lying. Elena's brother put 3 bullets in me 6 months after you disappeared, Minitjun continued, his voice raw. I almost died. And the entire time, all I could think was that I'd never find you, never explain, never tell you that I loved you too much to cage you in my world. So you just let me think I meant nothing? That I was disposable? I thought you were safer believing that. Safer hating me than being attached to me. Minitjun's composure crumbled completely. Don't you understand? Everyone I love dies or gets destroyed. My world is poison, Amora. I was trying to protect you the only way I knew how. By breaking my heart. Tears streamed down her face. By making me run while pregnant and alone. That was protection. I didn't know about the baby. Minitjun's anguish filled the room. If I had known, I would have burned down the entire city to find you. I would have claimed you and her publicly, consequences be damned. Touching speech, Minitho interrupted. Should I tell her about the contract, brother? The real reason you hired her in the first place? Minitjun's face went ashen. Don't. What contract? Amora demanded, a new horror dawning. Minitacho's smile was cruel. You weren't randomly hired, Amora. My brother specifically requested a foreign worker. Someone vulnerable, someone with no family ties in Korea. Because there was a rival, a man who collected African women like trophies. Minitjun was going to use you as bait to trap him. The room spun. Amora looked at Minitjun, silently begging him to deny it. It's true, Minitjun whispered. At first. But I called it off before anything happened. Before I even really knew you, I called it off because I couldn't. You bought me, Amora said numbly. I was merchandise. No. You were supposed to be, but then you weren't. Then you were everything, and I didn't know how to fix what I'd started. Minitjun reached for her, and she flinched back. Amora, please. Get out, she said quietly. Both of you. Get out of my home. We need to settle the paternity, Minitho started. I don't care. Amora's voice rose to a scream. You want to know who her father is? Fine. We'll do the test. But neither of you will get custody because you're both toxic. You're both liars. You're both so damaged that you can't see how you destroy everything you touch. Amora, both brothers began simultaneously. I'm taking Ji-yoon and leaving Korea, she continued, her decision crystallizing. I have a job offer in Canada. We're gone in 2 weeks. You can have your test results mailed there. But I'm done being your pawn in whatever sick game you're playing. Minitjun's devastation was palpable. You can't take her away from me. I just found her. I just found you. You lost us 3 years ago when you chose pride over honesty, Amora shot back. Now leave before you wake your daughter, whoever her father is. The twins left, but the look they exchanged promised this wasn't over. The paternity test happened 3 days later, supervised by lawyers and witnessed by all parties. The results would take a week. 7 days of agonizing waiting while Amora packed up her life and prepared to run again. Comment below who you think is Ji-yoon's real father, Team Minitjun or Team Minitho. And stick around because the test results are going to shock everyone. But the universe had other plans. On day 5, Mrs. Song appeared at Amora's door, looking frail and frightened. I need to confess something, the old woman said. About the paternity test. About what I know. Amora let her in, dread pooling in her stomach. That night in the garden, when you were with Minute Ho, Mrs. Song began shakily. I was there, watching to make sure you stayed safe. I saw him help you to your room. I saw him stay all night in that chair, never touching you. Then Ji-yoon is Minute Jun's, Amora said, something twisting in her chest. Relief. Grief. She couldn't tell anymore. That's what I thought too, Mrs. Song continued. But then I remembered something else. The night before, Minute Jun had a visitor. A woman. She stayed in his room until dawn. Amora's stomach dropped. While we were together, you'd fought about the engagement. He was angry and drunk and stupid. I don't know if anything happened, but Mrs. Song pulled out an envelope. I ran my own test. I took hair from Ji-yoon's brush and samples from both twins. With shaking hands, Amora opened the envelope. She read the results once, twice, 3 times, unable to process what she was seeing. This doesn't make sense, she whispered. The results showed a genetic match to the Kang family, but not to either twin specifically. The probability of paternity for both Minute Jun and Minute Ho was listed as inconclusive with a note. Sample suggests subject shares DNA with tested individuals but not as parent. Possible uncle or cousin relationship. There's a third option, Mrs. Song said quietly. Something I should have told you years ago. The Kang twins have an older brother. Amora's world tilted sideways. What? Kang Dae-hyun. Their father's firstborn from before his marriage. When he showed signs of conscience, of weakness, the old man disowned him. Everyone thinks he's dead. Mrs. Song's voice dropped to a whisper. But I've seen him. Around the estate. Watching. The implications crashed over Amora like a tsunami. No. No, that's not possible. I never. That night with Minute Ho. You said your memories were hazy. You assumed it was the alcohol. Mrs. Song pulled out a photo on her phone. Is this man familiar? Amora looked at the image and felt bile rise in her throat. Same face as the twins. Same sharp features. But older, with a distinctive scar above his left eyebrow. And those eyes. Ji-yoon's eyes. I saw him, Amora breathed. Before I went to the garden that night. In the hallway. I thought it was Minute Jun. I thought the memories clicked into place with horrifying clarity. Oh God. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Hello, Amora. We should talk about our daughter. And what I want in exchange for letting you keep her. You have 48 hours. Come alone, or Ji-yoon learns what her mother really is. An address followed. An abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Seoul. Mrs. Song gripped her hand. Don't go. Tell the twins. Let them handle this. But Amora was already grabbing her jacket. If Dae-hyun wanted me dead, I'd be dead. He wants something else. And I need to look him in the eye and hear the truth. The warehouse was exactly as sinister as expected, dark, empty, echoing with her footsteps. Dae-hyun emerged from the shadows like a ghost, and up close, the resemblance to his brothers was devastating. You came, he said, almost surprised. I half expected my brothers to burst in with an army. They don't know I'm here, Amora replied, forcing her voice steady. What do you want? To explain. He moved closer, and she fought not to flinch. 4 years ago, I started watching the family that threw me away. I saw how my father's empire corrupted everything it touched. And I saw you, this bright, beautiful woman caught in their web. So you drugged and raped me? Amora's voice shook with fury. That was your solution? I didn't, he stopped, jaw clenched. I didn't drug you. My brother did. The world stopped. What? Minute Jun. He was paranoid about you and Minute Ho getting close. He put something in your drink at dinner that night, planning to keep you compliant and in your room. But you went to the garden instead. Dae-hyun's expression was unreadable. I found you stumbling around, barely conscious. I helped you inside. You kept calling me Jun, and I didn't correct you. You let me think you were him, Amora said, horror and rage mixing into something toxic. You slept with me while I was drugged and thought you were someone else. That's rape. I know. His voice cracked. I know what I am. What I did. I've lived with that every day for 3 years. But Ji-yoon exists, and she's mine, and I can't regret her even though I regret everything else. You don't get to claim her, Amora snarled. You don't get to. The warehouse doors exploded inward. Minute Jun and Minute Ho stormed in with a dozen armed men, murder in their eyes. Step away from her, Minute Jun ordered, his voice deadly calm. Dae-hyun smiled bitterly. Hello, brothers. Took you long enough. You tracked my phone, Amora realized, looking at the twins. Of course we did, Minute Ho said. Did you really think we'd let you face this monster alone? Monster? Dae-hyun laughed. That's rich coming from you. How many people have you killed, Minute Ho? How many lives have you ruined, Minute Jun? At least I own what I am. You violated her, Minute Jun's gun came up. You're dead. Wait. Amora stepped between them. Before anyone starts shooting, I need the truth. All of it. Minute Jun, did you drug me that night? The silence was deafening. Answer her. Minute Ho roared at his brother. Minute Jun's face was ashen. I put something in your wine. Just a mild sedative. You were talking about leaving, and I panicked. I just wanted you to sleep, to have time to think of how to fix things. I didn't know. He looked at Dae-hyun with pure hatred. I didn't know he would take advantage. But you drugged her, Minute Ho said, his weapon swinging toward his twin. You're no better than him. I didn't mean. You never mean to. Minnie Taecho's control shattered. You never mean to hurt people, but you always do. And I always clean up your messes. I've killed for you, lied for you, destroyed my own soul for you. And you drugged the woman we both loved. We both loved. Minute Jun's laugh was jagged. You wanted to possess her, like you possess everything in my shadow. The brothers faced off, a lifetime of resentment finally exploding. And Amora. She was done. Done with all of them. I'm leaving, she announced. I'm taking Ji-yoon to Canada. I'll send you all the paternity results when they arrive. You can have supervised visitation if the court allows it. But I'm done being destroyed by the Kang family. She walked toward the exit, and all 3 brothers moved to stop her. Let her go, a new voice commanded. Everyone turned. Elena Volkov stood in the doorway, very much pregnant, with her own armed guards. This has been entertaining, Elena said coldly. But you all forgot something. The contract Minute Jun signed with my family included genetic material storage. I'm carrying a Kang heir conceived through artificial insemination. My child will be legitimate, documented, and have the first claim to everything. Minute Jun stared at her in horror. You can't. I already did. My lawyers filed the paperwork months ago. Elena smiled at Amora. So thank you for distracting these fools while I secured my son's future. He'll inherit it all, and you? You'll have nothing. But Amora started laughing. Laughing so hard she had to lean against a support beam. You want to know the funniest part, she gasped. I don't want anything. Not the money, not the power, not the Kang name. I just want my daughter and peace. So congratulations, Elena. You win a prison you think is a palace. She walked out, and this time, no one stopped her. Make sure you're subscribed because the series finale is dropping next week, and you will not believe how this ends. 2 weeks later, Amora stood in Toronto's airport with Ji-yoon, boarding passes in hand. The paternity results had arrived that morning. Kang Daehyun, 99.9% probability. She'd expected to feel something: anger, grief, violation. Instead, she felt nothing but a strange relief. Ji-yoon was hers. Just hers. The Kang family drama couldn't touch them anymore. "Mommy, are we really going to see snow?" Ji-yoon asked excitedly. "So much snow, baby. Mountains of it. Will the scary men come?" Amora's heart clenched. "No, sweetheart. Never again." But as they walked toward security, Amora's phone buzzed one final time. A message from Minute Jun. "Daehyun is dead. For real this time. Minute Ho and I made sure of it. The results were fake, he had them altered to stake his claim. The real results show she's mine. I have proof. Please don't get on that plane. Please give me a chance to be her father. To be better. I'm leaving the family. Starting over. Let me prove I can be the man you both deserve." A second message from Minute Ho. "His lying. The tests show she's mine. I have the real results from Mrs. Song. Minute Jun is desperate. But I won't chase you. If you get on that plane, I'll respect it. Just know that I love you. I love her. And if you ever need me, I'll be waiting. Always." Amora looked at both messages, then at her daughter's innocent face. She turned off her phone and walked through security without looking back. Some questions didn't need answers. Some stories didn't need endings. Some prisons were only prisons if you stayed. And Amora Okonkwo was finally, beautifully free. If you loved this story, smash that like button, drop a comment telling me which brother you wanted Amora to choose, and subscribe for more dramatic Afro-Korean stories that'll keep you up at night. Part 2 might happen if this video hits 10,000 likes. Let's make it happen. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the best choice is choosing yourself.